What if Beyonce and Jay-Z are blackmailing the entirety of Hollyweird? And what if that has to do with why she won the Grammy that a lot of people feel Billie Eilish should have won? Now, hear me out, ladies and gentlemen. I've been keeping a somewhat eye on Beyonce and Jay-Z because for me, I don't know how they were even at the Grammys after all the stuff that's coming out about them in alleged connection with Diddy. And I have been noticing that the celebrities in general seem to be doing a lot to distance themselves or look like they've got nothing to do with any of that. I talked about how many of them are going on streaming platforms like on Kai Cenat's Stream, for example, being one of them, to try and like get down with the kids, you know, kind of vibes, and to like be seen to be fun, and like could never be in these weird white parties doing crazy things with kids in underground tunnels, right? Or this, that, and the other. So for me, I was just quite shocked at the Grammys, but then I remembered what we already know, those of us who've been here, who've been talking about Hollyweird for years at this point, which is quite simply that it's all fake. It's all a play. Of course, they all have to show up. No matter what's going on behind the scenes, the show must go on. The play must continue because we, the people with power, are going to be watching, paying attention. And if they don't have our attention, then they don't have their power. Hence why they have to do these Grammys. Hence why they like when there's all these types of scandals and stuff as well, because we're paying attention to what they're doing. Because if we weren't paying attention, they wouldn't have careers. If people weren't showing up to Beyonce's concerts, Beyonce wouldn't be Beyonce. She'd be just another person singing like many people that around the world that sing, right? So I started to think about some things that I find quite fascinating that all come together when we discuss Beyonce and Jay-Z. And there was a trend like towards the end of last year where people started to thank Beyonce, right? Hear me out, guys. I'm going somewhere with this. People started to thank Beyonce. And they realized that because if they don't thank Beyonce, it was like a curse, that something will happen to you if you don't acknowledge her as somewhat to do with how you got your skills. And I already thought you got your success. And I already thought prior to that I had already thought that what was I going to say? So I got distracted thinking about Jay-Z throwing a tantrum last year because Beyonce didn't get the Grammy. What was I going to say? Hold on with me a second. So with all of that, it just started to make me kind of think like, these guys, I think that went so much deeper than what people thought it did. As in like on social media, like on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, whatever. Yeah, people are doing it because they've heard about it and it becomes a trend. But I started to think now, especially with what's happening now, what if these guys are actually blackmailing everybody? And like, if you don't fall in line and allow them to be the reigning champs in the space, they will either destroy you, destroy your career, cause problems, because there's been lots of different stories, different questions about things surrounding those two. And a few red flags for me that I would like to point out, one of which to begin with is the fact that Jay-Z for a while now has been known to allegedly be a 33rd degree member of the Freemasons. Now, if you guys want to understand my personal theory about how the structure of the Freemasons, I say it's a theory, but I literally heard tapes of an ex-member of the Freemasons describe it like this, that you have the people at the very top, which I believe are working with our opponent here at the winning team. They work with our opponent. So you have the people at the top, like maybe the couple of families working alongside our enemy, you know, the enemy, who are then the next level below them is the 13 witches. Because remember, I've said to you guys that, you know, the devil likes to copy God, right? So the same way that Jesus came and had 12 disciples, I believe that that's his 12, because the guy who spoke about this, he was one of the 13 witches, right? Of course, he's now, I believe, in a psychiatric ward in like North Carolina. Isn't that interesting? After he'd exposed everything, he went around exposing everything in the 70s to these churches that were in the United States, explaining where all the witches were stationed and how how very much the entertainment industry, the music, they were literally putting demons onto these records, the master records, so that every time this music was copied, whether in CD form or whatever, there would be demons sent with the records. This was back in the 1970s, and he was a member of the 13 witches at the top level, right? The level below that is the 33rd degree, and there's 33 members, of which Jay-Z is one of them. So in that structure, I believe he is, because he had a whole 3 albums that were like 333, like from years back. This is when I was still a teenager. So I believe that he is very high up in the ranks and has very much a lot of power across the board in the industry. And therefore, I feel that they are in a position where they've basically looked at the rest of the Hollyweirdos and gone, if we go down, we're taking all of you with us, FYI. So you guys better get in line. Now, here's where the trouble comes with the problems with the narrative, the power being with the people, our understanding and our lack of knowledge on the situations, right? The problem is that we are just thinking that this is a normal, fair thing. This is where I feel like Billie Eilish is a victim in all of this, right? She and we think, oh, whoever genuinely got the best artist or the best album or the best this or the best that, whoever genuinely deserves it's going to get it, because we've been sold the narrative that all of these award shows, all of anything that we're seeing from any of these celebrities is real, even though I don't believe any of it's real. I believe there are a few people and a few different things, although I think it's far more rare than it is common for the real people. I think Billie Eilish is one of those who's real, as in the industry has to make room for her because she was going to blow anyway, right? But she's not so much into the industry as other people are, which is also why I kind of understand her overall temperament, because she kind of has that kind of temperament as a lot of people do who are like big, but maybe are not so into being a part of the industry the way that it is. Hence, like, for example, maybe somebody like Adele. I don't know about Adele. I don't feel one way or the other. I do find it fascinating that she kind of has an album, like does a bunch of touring, and then says she's going to disappear for 5 years. She's just now gone on a break for another 10 years, right? So I feel that it's us, the people, and then certain individual celebrities like Billie Eilish who just have to be in the moment. And I honestly think that, you know, for Billie in this case, it was never going to be about who deserved the Grammys. I don't think, just like how Billboard, I told you guys, we had this whole situation with Tom McDonald. Tom McDonald is an independent artist. And he and his wife basically are like a two-man operation in terms of making the music videos, yada, yada, yada. They do all the stuff themselves, right? And and I did videos on this. You guys can go and check with proof. He did proof as well himself of how the industry is trying to, like, he'll show that he's got more sales and should be placed number 1, number 2, whatever in the billboards. But he would contact Billboard and they wouldn't put him in the billboards. Why? Because it obviously doesn't suit them and what they're trying to do and whatever, even though, and then he literally showed the emails that he was having going back and forth saying, I can show you my sales. He gave them access to the back office of his website so they could see exactly how many sales he's done. He's looking at the statistics they're saying of why so-and-so other member of Hollyweird is number 1 on Billboard. And he's seeing that, well, according the reason for that is because they made X amount of sales or X amount of streams, whatever. He's like, well, I can prove that I got more than that. So why do I not get put on Billboard? Which again, obviously is the signal of exactly what I'm saying, that this isn't real. This is just them doing what suits them. They put who they want to put on Billboard and they put who they want to give a Grammy to, the people that are working for the opponent, for our opposition, right? They put who's there, who's doing what they want to do, not what we perceive to be the fair option or what we would think would be fair. That's why I said, like, they choose what they want to do. They just make a narrative to us as if it's fair. So then we go, oh, we love this celebrity because they're on top of whatever, when in reality, they could just completely fabricate it. And I think a lot of these artists, that's why I see a lot of artists, when the entertainment industry is done with them, I told you, we all know how it goes. Use, abuse, dispose. That's what they do. They use you, they abuse you. When you're no longer interesting, they've already been training other people up the way and they move you on. Unless you're in with the higher levels of the organization, in which case you'll be protected in a longer term, longer way of doing things, hence me talking about Jay-Z, hence me getting into that. And even Jay-Z all of a sudden and Beyonce talking to Kai Cenat. Why are they talking to Kai Cenat? Why are they interested? Why is Beyonce giving some kind of blessing about, like, I love your light or whatever? Like, she's not all up in the demonic worship of the West African false gods, you know, that she's all up involved with. Why is she doing all of that? Because they're the ones who give out the blessing, right? Because if you don't get their blessing, these gatekeepers in the entertainment industry, I've told you, this is why they gatekeep. They gatekeep because it's a maintenance of power type of thing. So I don't think that the reason why Billie Eilish didn't get it is because people don't understand that she was more deserving or whatever, right? In whatever sense. I think that I have a lot of respect for her, and I think that she, I don't listen to either of them. Well, obviously definitely don't listen to Beyonce. but I'm not, I do have a lot of respect for Billie Eilish, and I do think she makes incredible music, and she has done a lot of really good songs, right? I just think she's, again, another victim of what happens when we don't believe some of the stuff that I talk about on this channel. When I'm telling you guys this stuff, I'm not saying it because I like to be a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not saying it because I like to think that I know better than other people and I'm just like some special, no. It's because I don't want you to be the one who's Billie Eilish. She looks sad. She was there crying, teary-eyed. A lot of people are upset that she didn't get the Grammy, as we should be. But the thing is, she walked into a situation, into a what do you call it? Into a situation thinking that, and this is what people do. This is what frustrates me about the world. We consistently go around thinking that everything is good and people are good and everything's fair. Why would things be fair? If you're somebody in power, there's a phrase, right? All power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? When people get into places of power, it's not that they become, it's not that they all of a sudden turn into something that they weren't always. Most people in a situation where they can choose either to protect themselves for the long haul and those around them versus doing what's right for everybody will choose themselves. And we saw this happen even in COVID, as I said to you guys before, and I say it all the time. I even predicted it. Just as COVID started to happen, I even was saying, I was like, watch, everybody's going to be like, we're all going to see everybody's true colors. We went from, oh, everybody's so loving and wants to help the world and is so giving and would give whatever. But when it came down to it and you're worried about feeding your own family, doing what was right for you, all of a sudden things got a little bit more vicious, didn't they? And that's my point. And so I feel like it goes way deeper than just, oh, Grammy weren't listening and they weren't being fair. I genuinely think those two are reigning tyrannically in the entertainment industry right now. And I genuinely think that's why not a lot is happening against them, because they're like, first of all, Jay-Z's high enough level in the organization to bring everyone down in all areas of corruption, because we know there's plenty of it. There's plenty of conflicts of interest in different things, even with the legal system. And so I think everybody is now kind of on their best behavior, because I've been thinking a lot that I don't actually believe that. I believe the celebrities are not as happy as they are faking their happiness. I'll do that as a separate video. I'll do that one as a separate video. But anyways, you guys, think about that for a second. Stew on those thoughts, because I don't think that this is all by accident. I think this is all done on purpose. If you ask me, I think that people are scared of Beyonce and Jay-Z, and people are behaving because they probably have information and blackmail on everyone. And now, because of that, in a similar way, it's like, if you guys are really gonna allow us to go down, we're gonna bring you all down with us. So y'all better get in line. Y'all better keep us being where we are, because otherwise we're gonna bring you all down with us. That's what I truly believe is happening. Anyways, if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.